ESPN.com picked the most underrated NFL players at every position. Our buddy Aaron Schatz, formerly of Football Outsiders, went through this exercise. Just rapid reactions. Let's go through these and see what we think. He's got Brock Purdy as his most underrated quarterback.
I think that's fair because not everybody, but there's a huge pulse that throws a tantrum. And they just, it's the system. It's a good system. It's very, very good. He's put up much better results in that system than a lot of his predecessors. There's a lot of other guys who are still around and kicking in the league who didn't perform as well. He fits that system. That's okay. That's maybe means that you wouldn't be able to walk in any franchise and turn them into a 14-win team, but you still have to have some virtues, have to have some ability, have to have some aptitude to succeed in any given system, and he fits that one very, very well. And I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, I like that answer from him because, to your point, I think there's just so much consternation about Purdy, and he's become this lightning rod. Mm-hmm. You hear his name, and you've got to point out the flaws because he's not worth it, whatever it is, the MVP consideration or now the contract that he just got. I'll say that if Bo Nix has a season like he did last year, it's too early. But Bo Nix had a really good year. Nobody talks about it. Mm-hmm. Understandably, because Jaden Daniels was just unbelievable and blew him out of the water. But then there were a lot of quality rookie performances last year. But Bo Nix was sneaky exceptional. He threw for 3,800 yards, had 29 touchdowns and 12 picks. I would put him on that list in terms of being underrated right now. What about Matt Stafford? Is he properly rated? Does he get his roses? I've always kind of thought Stafford, certainly when he was just putting up massive numbers for mediocre Detroit teams in perpetuity, was undervalued. Like last year, he only turned the ball over. He only threw 8 picks. It was only 20 touchdowns. But I've always thought Stafford is closer to a top-line quarterback than people give him credit for.
I like that one a lot. So his is interesting because he was 1-1. Right, he was one of the last guys to get more money than superstar veteran with his rookie contract payday before they basically changed the rules almost right after him. So for a while he was overrated, right? Like the lack of production, lack of wins, whatever you want to call it. For whatever reason, people just beat up on him because they didn't lift them out of mediocrity at best. And then all of a sudden, because of all that pulse, people sort of forget that's a really good quarterback that went through a lot of bleep. And the instant he walked in L.A., they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. The moment he got there.
He arrived, Super Bowl.
Running back, most underrated, all the positions offensively that he went through here. Chuba Hubbard, Carolina Panthers. This is a great answer. Not a household name by any means. Do you know he averaged about 5 yards per carry last year as a 1,200-yard back? Really good player in college. Ended up running for 1195 last season, 11 touchdowns. And by the way, did it as part of an offense where occasionally early in the season, Bryce Young, who had eventually made some strides, was just playing at a level that got you stacked boxes, basically.
So this is a great one because it took him a while to get there. So this is how you get to be underrated. Like he was fairly, as you said, highly heralded coming out of school, and there wasn't much production for a few seasons. He was injury plagued and kind of part-time starter in 2022. 2021, his rookie year, 3.6 a pop. Last year, not this past year where he played really well, again, sub 4 yards a carry for a bad offense that was going nowhere, sort of forgotten about. And this is one of those like, hey, by the way, has anyone noticed? This is a 10 touchdown, 1,200-yard back that can catch the ball to the backfield a little bit. Is a really good player. And the answer is no one noticed.
Well, they're going to this year because he's going to go in the first couple of rounds of fantasy drafts probably. And that's when you start to get some of that exposure and that national attention. Most underrated wide receiver, I got to be honest, I don't really get this one. He went Darius Slayton of the Giants. Darius Slayton, who mostly has been in the 35 to 50 catch area his entire career. He's definitely a deep threat. He's averaged 15 yards per reception. That's where he was again last year. He can make some plays. There's got to be a more underrated wide receiver, though, than Darius Slayton.
So I have a few names that pop into mind. Jerry Jeudy is underrated. No one ever thinks about that guy.
Well, he stunk for years, though. I mean, he dropped so many balls.
He was slogging it out in Denver with garbage quarterback situations, did the same in Cleveland, and just put up 1,230 yards last year.
Again, he had a great year.
And I'm not telling you he's the best wide receiver in the league. There's about 15, 20 guys I would take ahead of him. But we're talking about underrated. I think he
went to the Pro Bowl.
he's done well, yeah, which is good. He's done more than Slayton has, certainly. But again, if we're talking about no one ever acknowledges that he's any good, okay, if that's the bar. But I feel like Jerry Jeudy never gets mentioned in any kind of list anywhere, and I'm going, that guy's actually produced at a decent level.
That. Yeah, I mean, you get a Pro Bowl nomination. Feels like you're getting your flowers from somebody. Jacoby Myers is a good answer. Linnell just mentioned. I like that one at wide receiver. He had 1,000 yards last year and 80 catches for a Vegas team without a quarterback. He has toiled the last couple of years with 70-plus catches in terms of quarterback play. Before that, he was in New England at the wrong time. He was in New England for like the Mac Jones into Bailey Zappi.
So much Zappi
territory. I'd like to see him with a real quarterback. He's in that Terry McLaurin class. Tight end. This is why I bring this up, Danny. The most underrated tight end in the NFL, according to Aaron Schatz, Zach Ertz of your Washington Commanders. Here's what he says about Ertz. It looked like Ertz's career might be over after he played only 7 games for the Cardinals in 2023 at 33 years old. But he had a big comeback season with the Commanders in 2024. Ertz caught 66 balls for 654 yards and 7 touchdowns, emerging as one of the rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels' go-to options. Ertz also ranked 10th among tight ends in this is his stat, so DR, which is defense adjusted yards above replacement. I love Aaron Schatz. He had an 85.7% run block win rate, one of the best figures among starting tight ends too. The Commanders re-signed Ertz to a 1-year deal for $6 million. He goes on to say that among the tight ends in the draft that were available and in free agency, he was one of the most sought after. I agree. I remember the first half of last season. I'm old enough to remember when Ertz got made fun of by everybody. They could not stand him. And it's not sexy to watch. It's catch, it's fall, there's no plays being made. But my point was he gets open, he makes himself available. Ask Jaden Daniels what he thinks about Zach Ertz. You're going to hear a very different thing in week 6 last year to what you heard from the fan base. But as the year went on and he started catching a few touchdowns, the demeanor toward him changed, and all of a sudden, he's grabbing like 11 balls in the NFC Championship game. He finished really strong.
He certainly did. And so, the low point's probably a 1 catch for 5-yard game, kind of right smack in the middle of the season.
What game was that?
The Giants game that they eked out up there, 27-22. There were a handful to begin the season just to get it's so unproductive, right? In terms of nothing down the field, no broken tackles, no yards after the catch, nothing. And then there were some drops. There were some fumbles mixed in there, if memory serves. There were, balls that should have been caught that, where he was already juggling before he got hit and couldn't secure. But second half of the season, really kind of down the stretch, he was a touchdown guy. I mean, had scored in all but 2 of his last 8 games as this offense sort of kind of became this new version of it where they couldn't run it in every game except the Tennessee game. And it was all on Daniels. And he was throwing to these narrow window, tiny seam things where Ertz was boxing out defenders and taking advantage of smaller guys and was catching the ball in traffic. Remember, I think it was the Atlanta game where the announcer even goes, "This is where they like to go to Zach Ertz." Snap, hut, ball to Ertz, touchdown, game over. Like that's the dude right there in those gritty, unsexy yards. So I was wrong.
Well, it wasn't just you. I mean, you don't have to throw your hand up. But I think what you just said is kind of my point, which is you remembered early in the season all of those bad things. Like he fumbled 1 time last year. It sticks out like he fumbled 3 or 4 times. It was probably in a big spot. I don't remember exactly when it was. But my point is that was your recollection of the first half of the season. I remember a lot of times where he moved the chains on 3rd and 6. I remember a lot of times where Jaden Daniels is leaving the pocket and he resets and he catches the football. And did he get tackled right away? Sure. But on 2nd and 10, now it's 3rd and 2. That's a damn big play. And he was just really, really helpful. He also, this is one of those things that's never going to be that popular with fans, but he's one of those guys behind the scenes who's just so necessary. Mm-hmm. Bobby Wagner gets the love and the credit and the attention for it, and everyone talks about him as leader of the locker room, alpha, soldier, all those things. Ertz does the same kind of thing on the other side of the ball. There's not quite the same fanfare for it.